What's up, Shredheads? Welcome back to the Pokemon Card Classic. We are with Big H, otherwise known as Trophy Card on Instagram. We're going to call him Big H today because that's what Shreddy calls him. That's what Shreddy knows him as. So, in one question, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very well, my friend. Very well. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Very good. So, H is someone that I met. When did we meet? Was it April?
What you mean, like started talking? Or actually met face to face.
When did we meet face to face? Was that April?
I think it was late April. Yeah,
And we've been
maybe early May.
A month, 6 weeks before that.
Probably around that time.
Probably very late February, March time is when I met H, just through Facebook groups and, collecting Pokemon and things like that. But me and H have met up a couple of times now. We've done a couple of deals. But ever since that first time we met up, we've literally, I think, spoke every day about Pokemon and just, anything really. We kind of just led off to other things as well and became really good friends. So what I've wanted to do for a while is have H on the channel because we talk about Pokemon every day. So it's easy to do this, like a video like we're doing today. It's easy for us to just talk and, film some Pokemon stuff and get some content out there for you guys. I think we have very similar opinions on most things, don't we, when it comes to Pokemon?
Most things. we butt ahead once in a while.
Yeah, every now and then. But I think majority of things, we kind of have at least similar takes on our similar kind of philosophies. But hopefully on these videos, we come across topics where we maybe do have different opinions on because, we can get like the back and forth going then of, two sides of the coin kind of thing. But what we're talking about today, tell the viewers, tell the Shredders what we're talking about, H.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about, first and foremost, what everybody's talking about, Logan Paul's box break of the first edition base set box.
Yeah.
That he paid $200,000 for. That's the slogan. That's the tagline.
That's the title. And yeah, that's the title. That's the thumbnail right there. So we'll have to get some shocked faces for the thumbnail. But right, starting off then. So he paid $200,000 for the box. He sold the packs for like $11,111 each or whatever. So I think it came was it $396 the total cost of the box. What do we think this is doing to the price now of a first edition base set, unweighed, a legit unweighed? What do you think that would do to a booster pack? How was that affected? How was Logan Paul's box break affected that price, do you think?
I think it depends on who you're dealing with, mate.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that maybe, stumbled across a couple of packs or bought a pack recently that are going to be screaming through the rooftops that, hey, Logan Paul sold these packs for $11,000. This is worth at least X amount, blah, blah, blah. The spiel. Yeah. But I sent you that screenshot the other day that I bought 3 first edition graded base set shadowless booster packs for £7,500, which is just £2,500 each, roughly about just over $3,000. So $3,000 is a long. They were first edition shadowless base set English packs.
Yeah.
For $3,000. So that's a far cry off 11,000. So I think it just depends where you look and who you're dealing with.
No, I agree. So I think my take on that, the difference in price, I think that people paid a premium purely because it's like a gimmick, wasn't it? People were buying that pack for $11,000. I don't think it's necessarily bumped the price up to $11,000 a pack. I think a lot of people who bought into that were doing it they were like, a lot of people buying them with Logan's friends, and a lot of people doing it were buying it for like the shout out because it got like
YouTubers,
300,000+ viewers live. I think I was talking to somebody about on the Sunday. It had like 2.5 million views or something.
Some 5 million views now, mate. 5 million views.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, I checked it earlier today. 5 million views, mate.
There you go. Then so less than 2 days and they're going live, 5 million views. So what I think a lot of people on Instagram, particularly, that's where I've seen people kind of, I say the butt hurts, and people kind of moaned at me for calling them getting butt hurt, but I say it in a joking way. But I think a lot of people complaining about the price don't kind of realize or understand that that doesn't necessarily mean that's bumped the price of those packs up permanently, because if someone like PokeRev who's got like 20,000 subscribers or something, was doing it, he'd have maybe a couple of thousand people watching live. Logan Paul had 300,000 people live watching it, and he's got 5 million views on that video in less than 2 days. So to pay 11 grand, you were paying for the gimmick of being on that stream, paying for the shout out, paying for the exposure. And I saw some of the popular kind of people on YouTube were Unlisted Leaf, PokeRev, Randolph.
Is it Pokey Rand or something like that?
Yeah, he's called Randolph, but he has like a Pokemon channel as well. I think he's like a I don't know, he's a rapper or something from like he's like a musician from the UK. I've seen him quite a bit on the Graded Gem channel. It seems like quite a good guy.
I think I've seen a few of his videos.
So we'll talk about Randolph in a second in his latest video.
Interesting fact before we move off, mate. And I've just, I've just remembered this now.
Yeah.
PokeRev and TCA Gaming did a box break, first edition base set booster box. I think it was a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
They bought the box for $50,000, right?
Yeah.
And at the time, their packs or what they were selling it for was netting them about $90,000 to $95,000 return. So they doubled up on the box as well, which is the same thing that Logan Paul's doing. It's just that instead of being a $400,000 box, it was a it was $100,000 box. So if we really look into it, and it was getting their packs opened as well, same story. If you really think about it in that way, people were also happy to pay PokeRev and TCA Gaming double the amount of what the box was worth at the time or what they had purchased it for. So I think people that are complaining about that need to remember that PokeRev and TCA Gaming did it. So if it's okay for them, then I guess it must be okay for Logan Paul as well, as much as it hurts me to say that.
I didn't realise that TCA Gaming did. I know PokeRev did one. I wasn't sure.
They was in on it. They was in on it together.
Okay. Well, I wasn't sure what his markup was. But yeah, if he's doubled his money then, and a lot of people have complained about Logan Paul doubling his money. I genuinely don't think he's done it. I mean, before he entered the Pokemon stuff, I'd never heard of Logan Paul. But since he's came into Pokemon, I've found out like who he is, a popular YouTuber, blah, blah, blah. But people are really seem to be pissed off that he's doubled his money on it. But I genuinely don't think he's done it for the money. I think obviously he wants to make some money from it, but probably making 200 grand on a Pokemon box to him is probably like me making 200 quid. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it probably is like how rich he is.
I don't think he's on that level, but I get what you mean.
You know what I mean, though? Like, I don't think that was his sole focus for doing it, because he's made money from it, but I think he could have easily bought that and opened it himself. I wouldn't be surprised if
that's what I thought he was gonna do. I was so shocked when I heard that he was selling packs.
The box break, yeah.
But I thought he was buying it for fun. For himself to open and enjoy, because I got told by somebody that apparently knows his business manager, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Pretty much on the day after the Heritage auction. So I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then when I saw that he was selling packs and the price that he was charging, I was kind of thrown back and a little disappointed as well. So I think there's probably that element to it as well.
Yeah, I think what's probably happened there, because he said it on the stream, is that Collectibles Guru guy from Instagram. Apparently was his idea to do the box break. He's obviously done that to try and bump the prices up. And we'll come back to Collectibles Guru and that Randolph video, because they're kind of interlinked in a second. But I think if it was his idea, like they said it was on that video on the stream, he's probably gone Logan's ear to say, oh, you should do this box break. You're going to make X amount of money doing it, to get so much more exposure on, because then that Collectibles Guru has a booster box of his own as well. But I don't think Logan Paul's price is necessarily affecting the price of the entire market yet. The way I kind of compare it to is if you go to these charity auctions you get, and you have all these rich people going and they're bidding over retail value of like a weekend break in a spa, or
fair enough,
drive experience of this car, or they might even buy a car, but it's always over what you would go and buy it for at retail, because it's going to charity, and it's it's a big PR thing, isn't it? I'm not saying the money. I don't know if the money from the booster packs was going to charity or not. I don't know about that. But I know he was doing a fundraiser on the stream. He was really trying to push, people to donate to, I think it's called NAMI, like a mental health charity. It's one that Leon Hart pushes on his channel as well. So I think it was kind of a similar kind of thing where you had these high-profile PokeTubers, or you had his like Logan Paul's mates and people like in his set who were all mega rich buying these packs just for a bit of crack. And I think it's kind of a similar thing where at a charity auction things go for more than what they normally would. I think that's the same with these packs. Unless we now see Logan Paul doing box breaks on like a weekly or bi-weekly or a monthly basis, and then
I'm not gonna lie to you, mate. I think that's what's gonna happen.
well, I mean, if he was to buy,
I think that's what's gonna happen.
Let's say he bought another 2 first edition base set boxes and did another box break at the end of this month, then he did another one next month. There's 3 first edition boxes. If he charges the same amount for each box, for each pack, and they keep selling out, then you would see, right, well, the new price is this because 90 plus people have bought it, 100 and whatever people have bought the packs. Whereas if it was just a one-off, and he doesn't do another one, then I don't think it's going to like have that permanent effect. What do you think?
Yeah. No. I don't think it's another permanent effect. I don't think he's gonna break particularly another first edition.
Yeah.
But he can do the same thing that he did with this for all the other sets as well. I know that he bought a few base boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just go through the sets. So yeah. So I think what we saying then is our final word on the prices. Do we think that what's our take there?
I don't think him charging $11,000 a pack is gonna affect the market in terms of that. Whether him and the other stuff he's doing is gonna affect it, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna touch on that as well. Yeah.
I agree. So on about price raises then, we'll move on to the video that Randolph put up. It's kind of like he was reacting to his pack opening. That in the last 3, 4, 5 minutes of his video, he had a rant about this guy called Collectible Guru on Instagram. Okay. So there's been so much shit going on Instagram the past couple of weeks about this guy, Collectibles Guru. So for anyone watching who doesn't know, I think everyone watching will know, but anyone who doesn't know, there's a guy called Collectibles Guru on Instagram. He is a flipper. He's buying predominantly first edition base set cards. I've only seen him sell base set cards. He flips. He looks like he's making money. He looks like he's worth a lot of money. So fair play to him, he's making money. But a lot of people are pissed off because he's been caught shill bidding, or apparently shill bidding. People have like evidence. I say apparently.
He's been caught, mate. He's been caught. He's done it.
He's been caught doing it. He's always making estimates and forecasts of this is going to be X amount by Christmas. And he's done that in the Logan Paul video. So Randolph basically just laid out what he's been doing on his YouTube video a couple of days ago. So what I know, because I know you mentioned, are we going to cover that in the video before we started recording? So what do you want to bring up about that, and then we'll talk about that. What was it specifically?
Mate, it was just everything. It was just literally plucking numbers out of the sky.
So we saw in that video,
spreading it to people.
So we saw that video. I think even there's a woman. I don't know who the woman was, but there's a woman in that video, that Logan Paul stream, and he said, "Look, you see Logan Paul kind of looking off camera, shouting 30 grand. Are you sure 30? Like even he is doubting it." And apparently, not apparently, what happened was Collectible Guru says if the cards, it's worth 30 grand in like a PSA 10. And a woman is just looking off camera as if to say, what you're on about kind of thing. Because there's Venusaurs being pulled that are worth less than what this Bulbasaur would be.
What this Bulbasaur's worth,
Bulbasaur is a common card. Yeah, it's a popular Pokemon because it's one of the starters. So people looking for that nostalgia, they see a Bulbasaur and they think, right, that's more of a rare card than, I don't know, a Weedle or a Ponyta, which was a common card. But essentially, like, you've got as much chance of pulling a Bulbasaur as you have a Ponyta, a Weedle, a Magnemite, a Rattata.
Mate, to be honest with you, before Gary Vee came under the scene, nobody was talking about starters. Let's keep it honest. We're all collectors here. Nobody cared at all about starters, whether it's PSA 10 or PSA 1. Gary Vee came onto the scene. People started spending all this crazy money on the cards.
So we'll get back onto the subject in a second, what we're talking about. But what you how much did the prices go up of the red cheeks, the yellow cheeks and the red cheeks Pikachus, the Charmander, Bulbasaur, and the Squirtle? And I think you sent me some screenshots a while ago of the price. It just started plummeting on those cards because people have been getting bent on them. And this is what people were saying on Instagram weeks ago. anybody who's getting into the hobby now who doesn't know about pop reports and doesn't know about like how many cards they have set up at PSA 10 and things like that, they jump in, they see these cards because Gary V's mentioned Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Charmander.
Plus, they've been going up as well.
Buying the cards, but then once people have sussed on, once this new money that came to the hobby susses on, oh shit, there's actually like hundreds of thousands of them. They're not even that rare. They've been bent. That's what we're saying.
Mate, it hurts me to laugh so much. But one of the main things when all the prices started taking off me, and not to boast, but my collection that I've got.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I benefited from this. But I just thought to myself, when this all turns belly up, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be very upset, and it's going to damage the hobby.
Yeah.
And the bigger it goes, the bigger the drop's going to be as well. So
the quicker and the bigger it goes up, the more of a potential drop there's going to be. I'm not saying there's going to be a crash, because I don't think there's going to be a crash in Pokemon, but I think you're going to see a big drop. We've already seen a drop in some of the starter Pokemon cards, and that's kind of like people jumping in.
I feel like there's an agenda to get them back up, mate. That's why they're sitting there saying it's a $30,000 card, and I bought this for $3,000 last week, and right now it's about $4,000-5,000. Okay.
Well, yeah. So that collectibles guru mentioned the Bulbasaur being $30,000. You could tell Logan Paul was questioning it. There was a woman, I don't know who the woman was, but there was a woman who just looked like, what are you talking about? I saw he post on Instagram the next day. He kind of backtracked a bit and said what he meant was a BGS 10 is worth $30,000, not a PSA 10. That's insane. But I think he was kind of just trying to, like, what's the word? Trying to cover himself and kind of trying to go back to make it seem that was ridiculous. But that wasn't the only daft thing he said. They pulled was it a Charizard? He'd sold him a Charizard on his older video and said, you're buying this now for however much, it's going to be worth like so much
by Christmas. That's his tagline, isn't it?
So it was they pulled the same cards. I think Randolph mentioned in his video, like he bought a Charizard PSA 9 first edition for however much. He said by Christmas it's going to be worth like $35 or $30,000. Then on the video when they pulled the Charizard and they're saying off it's a PSA 9 because you could tell it was off-centered, I think, when you were looking at the cards. It wasn't a 10.
No, it's a 10. It's definitely a 10. That's what they were saying about every single card that got bloody pulled.
I think it was saying that the PSA 9, if it comes back PSA 9, is worth 60 or 65,000. It was only in his last video he was claiming it was worth 30 or 35,000. So how has it jumped up 35 grand in 2 weeks? Has it been since Logan Paul put that?
That's the thing that people need to. I don't want to get serious on this video because it's meant to be kind of a fun video, but with Pokemon, prices can change overnight.
Yeah, they can go up
simple as
like that. I don't think people realize it can also go down like that.
Exactly. The thing is, I just want to highlight one thing. Yeah, there might be one or two people, other celebrities or somebody that's just rich, that's willing to pay $60,000 for a PSA 9. Go and look at the pop report and see how many PSA 9s there are out there. Yeah. Do you think there's hundreds of people all willing to pay 60 grand or can afford to pay 60 grand for a Charizard PSA 9?
Yeah.
The answer is no. So once those first few sell for that price, what happens after that?
If someone wants to sell it and they need the cash, you've got to take whatever people are offering. If you don't have a celebrity, well, I say celebrity, if you don't have somebody rich willing to match that last sold price, but let's say, like, I don't know, let's say I'm a collector, not a millionaire, just a normal collector. I've got a PSA 9 Charizard. Let's say, I don't know, I've lost my job. I need to make the mortgage payments. I need to sell that card to keep my house. I'm in like a desperate need to sell that. I need the money. So if I'm holding out for 60 or 65 grand because a celebrity or a rich person's bought one, but if I'm then trying to sell this card because I need to keep a roof over my head and I'm only getting offered 40 grand, 45 grand, if you're in a desperate position to sell, you need the money. That's what causes a drop in the price, because if you're desperate to sell, you have to kind of take what you can get. And if somebody's not there offering that 60, 65 grand, then yeah, that's kind of what can cause a price. And I know that's a bit of an extreme example, but an extreme example is also looking at Logic, the rapper, who just bought that Charizard PSA 10.
$120,000.
Yeah, which is a lot. But just because we've seen one sale of that doesn't necessarily mean it's a permanent new price. The next one might sell for a little bit less, or it might go up even more. You might be somebody who sees that and thinks, oh, well, I'm going to buy one for that same price. There are two people trying to bid against each other, two mega rich people. Then, yeah, the price is going to go up. But it's hard to kind of say one sale is
not
the new
not
price.
only that, mate, but like for example, I bought a PS. I put it on my Instagram story. I bought a
Trophy
PSA
card,
10
follow 'em.
base set Venusaur trophy card at trophy card. Follow it on
There you
Instagram.
go. There you go.
I just bought on eBay £2,700. It's about $3,200 for a base set
It's
10
a Venusaur.
Venusaur. I'm pretty sure
So,
that's a record. I'm not gonna say exactly what you paid, mate, but there was a big difference between what
yeah.
I paid and what you paid. So
So
just because someone paid $200,000 for a car, don't mean that somebody else can't get it cheaper. I've
exactly.
actually got messages. I've got messages on my Facebook talking to a very well-known person within the Pokemon world who offered me a Charizard for $116,000. This was only just over a month ago. I followed up with him couple of weeks later, and he told me that he sold it for like $90,000.
Was that
And
the
at this,
first edition,
and
PSA 10?
first edition PSA 10, and at the same time you hear all these other guys, I'm not going to mention them, saying, oh well, somebody offered $150,000 on the E4 forum and they couldn't
Yeah.
even get one.
Yeah.
Well, how come I got somebody, mate, that's very well known with a card in his hand who sold it for $90,000, mate? It just, I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say.
Because that's not as sexy as if you've got that card and you're trying to hype the price up. That's not as appealing to say, oh, well, actually the card's worth like 60 grand less than what people think it is.
But people believe it, mate, and that's
Oh,
why
no.
Collectible Guru is doing it, mate, because he's got
Yeah.
the platform now with Logan Paul.
Yeah.
If he's going around and all these new people are hearing that are not in the
30
community,
grand.
mate, they go straight onto eBay, buy now, buy now, buy now,
Yeah.
buy now, buy.
On about that, have you seen the amount of people that have listed Bulbasaurs for 30 grand taking the piss?
And saying reserved for Collectibles Guru.
So going back to that Venusaur you just mentioned, I don't know if you can see it there with the light bouncing.
Yeah,
But
looks nice, mate.
so you know that I picked that up yesterday, yeah?
Yep.
And it was part of a little bundle. So that card, how much did you say it went for?
I bought it for 2,700 today.
Right. So I picked that up yesterday, and I think the price worked out. Obviously, won't say the full price, but do you think it was maybe about half that price? Maybe he's around the half that price is what that worked out for as part of the bundle. So yeah, just because one card sells that doesn't mean it's the new norm. You need a couple of sales to register, unless it's unless it's the illustrated Pikachu or something crazy like that, where there's so few. But I think if it's cards with there's plenty of, if I don't know what the pop report at the top of my head is of that.
I looked it up, mate. There's like I think about, it's either 350 or 450.
There you go. Then so it's not super
long.
It's not.
It's not.
What about ridiculous prices?
Scary.
We spoke about this earlier today. Well, this afternoon. Just want to talk about this one quickly. It's the Charizards that I was talking to you about.
The PSA 9
Unlimited, yeah. So that there, I picked up yesterday. Yeah, you know what I got that for. How much is that going for today on Instagram?
Is it £4,000 or something?
3,950 quid.
Yeah.
And who was it?
Do you buy Pokemon?
Was it what?
Do you buy Pokemon?
Yeah, do buy Pokemon. Now, I just want to preface this that I'm not having a dig at any of these people, but just because someone says a card is worth something doesn't mean that. Like, I had somebody message me earlier, which led us onto that conversation about the Charizards, the PSA 9. Somebody messaged me asking if I wanted to buy a PSA 10 unlimited Charizards. How much were they asking for us? I told you didn't know how much they were asking for us.
It was like 15 grand or something
15 grand, yeah. So I know someone from Instagram. I've actually bought I bought my jungle booster box off him a couple of months ago. I know how much he paid for one and how much he sold one for. He basically flipped it in the space of it was less than a week. And he probably sold it 2 weeks ago, maybe just over 2 weeks. I know price at the minute changing a lot, but he sold his PSA 10 unlimited Charizard for less than half of 15 grand. And he bought it for even cheaper than that because he made a really good flip on it. So I know the prices have shot up in the back, just in the past couple of weeks on these base set cards. But to go to that price is just daft. It's not gone to 15 grand in the space of 2 weeks. I'm not seeing any sell for 15 grand.
not 15 grand. I think, what is it? I think 10 grand was the last. Is that the last sale? Was it £10,000 or nine? Maybe $10,000.
Maybe, yes. I know the
Can't
last
remember,
one
mate.
sold for, it was less than 10 grand. It could have been dollars, might be closer, but in pounds, it was less than that. And yeah, someone was asking
Mate,
me,
I'll
oh,
tell you what's happening with those Charizard cards and a lot of the base set products is exactly what's happening with the base set box.
yeah,
Because everything's moving so fast, everyone's deciding to just wait.
yeah.
Okay, what are they waiting for? What are you waiting for? The price to start falling. Once that happens, everybody's gonna want to start
Yeah.
selling their boxes, and it's a race to the bottom. You
I
know,
don't see a drop
sometimes
of
you,
it
you
soon,
need to
though.
know when to cash out, man.
I don't see a drop of base set stuff dropping anytime soon because I think for the longest time, the base set was actually undervalued. And I think it's only been this year you've kind of seen the prices of base
It
set,
doubled. It doubled, right? It doubled
yeah,
or more than doubled, right?
more
But
than doubled.
all of a sudden, it's jumped from 10, 12,000 pounds to £20,000, literally in the space of 2 weeks.
I think, yeah, I mean,
How does
the
how does that make sense?
they're going for 20, is it like $23,000, the base set boxes
Dollars, which
now?
is about that's about 90, 18, 19,000
18
pounds.
pounds, yeah. It's
Yeah,
meant
that's a lot of money, mate,
to.
for a base box. Let's not say what year I sold you a base box
Yeah.
only a few months back.
If people go back and watch that video, they might get an idea.
True.
Like, I think they might get an idea of that. But I think with the base set stuff, I think that has got lasting power because it's the most nostalgic. I think even when you've listened to Z and G and Graded Gem, because a lot of people also think that you're going to see the pop reports of basic cards blow up in the space of like, when all the returns come back. But they've been saying like, yeah, they've got a lot of hidden fates, a lot of basic coming through. But Z and G did a video recently and he was looking at the pop reports like compared to 6 months ago, 5, 4, 3 months ago of the cards coming through. And he was saying about the cards he's seen coming through since he's done the graded gem stuff in America, and the graded gem boys talk about it as well. They say that they do see a lot of basic cards going off, but people are overestimating how many basic cards are at PSA. And I think
Are we talking about a base card or are we talking about PSA 9, 10 potential base cards? Because
just base cards, I don't know what the potential of the 9s and 10s are. But I think if you think of all the people who have got back into Pokemon this year because of COVID and all that kind of stuff, they've gone through their old cards. They think it's mint condition because they're just returning to the hobby. They don't know what gem mint PSA is compared to, what an eBay seller's
mint card. Yeah.
So I think what your average collector who doesn't even really know about grading would say a mint card is, that might only be a PSA 7. Do you know what I mean? They don't understand the difference of like what an actual PSA 9 mint or a PSA 10 gem mint card is. So
Well, Logan Paul did that video where he said that he bought about 5, 6, 7 base boxes.
Right.
And I'm assuming that his mates were doing the same thing.
Right, maybe, yeah.
It's very, yeah. So,
but I think like people were kind of under this assumption of like, oh well, the prices will drop because a load of cards are going to come back. But from what Z and G and Graded Gem have said, there's not going to be a ton of like these Charizards coming back in PSA 10 quality. So it's not that you want to see a massive influx on the market.
not Charizard, but starter cards, for example, have gone from $50. Same thing, not first edition, but just a regular base unlimited version, from $50 to $400 for one card.
People are
Mate, if you go on, I can still go and buy theme decks for 50, 60 quid that are full of those common and uncommon cards, including the starters. One theme deck has like 6 Charmanders in it, a few Charmeleons in it, etc. So, I mean, is that really a secure investment to go and spend hundreds of pounds on a PSA 9, 10
base set
starter Pokemon?
Or even first edition. Yeah. That's a good point. I agree. But yeah, just that was a bit off topic, but just a little side rant there about the prices of. I think the key takeaway for me there is just because someone. It's like when people on the Facebook groups and Instagram say just because someone has it listed on eBay it doesn't make it the price. But then I think people forget that people on Instagram or Facebook who are saying I have this item for sale, this is the price. It's essentially the same as listing it on eBay. That doesn't mean it's worth that much. It's not worth that much until you find someone to buy it. Sounds common sense, but that's what it is. So yeah, there's a couple of cards. I mean, the base set Bulbasaur, I think, is the one that's been overhyped the most since the Logan Paul video. But even like I say, those Charizards, the unlimited ones, I think people are trying to overhype those cards as well. And I think it's the people who don't know about the population reports that are kind of going to get bent on them. They'll just see it as, oh, it's an original Charizard, it's PSA 10, not realizing how many actually are out there.
I think, I don't know how much time we got left on the video, but I think what people really need to ask themselves, because a lot of people, mate, they've just got back into collecting the last couple of months, the last few months. So, you know, I mean, if you were seeing, for example, even in January, a PSA 9 first edition base set Shadowless Charizard sell for £5,000, and there's one coming up literally every couple of weeks, or sometimes there's twice the auctions happening at the same time. Why is that all of a sudden now worth 60?
Yeah.
Why is the person that's willing to pay themselves 60,000 go ask themselves, where was they 10 months ago?
Yeah.
Like, did you just find out about Pokemon now? You're gonna say no, that you've been a collector since way back, or was a youth collector as a kid. So is this a hobby that people are really gonna stick to? Is it gonna be another Pokemon Go phase? You know, when someone's really enjoying something, they don't plan on leaving it, or they don't think about leaving it, they're just enjoying it. But at any time, people can get bored, people can leave the hobby. So, you know, a lot of people are making credit purchases, etc. You know, just my advice to people to just really think and use your heads before going out there making purchases. I mean, I bought this card for 2,700, knowing what Shreddy paid for it yesterday, knowing that I was paying double. But I mean, but the thing is with me, you know, that card can go to worth 0 tomorrow. It's not really going to make much of a difference to me. I didn't really buy it for investment purposes. So
that, you know, how long have I been looking for one of them?
Crazy, for a long while, mate.
It's one of those that I put off buying because I thought, the prices might drop down a bit. The price might drop down a bit. Got to the point where I kind of didn't see the prices dropping. I wanted it for my own collection, so I was like, right, it's time to bite the bullet and buy it. Since I bought that, I could probably make, $4,000 on that from the price.
Mate, I think you can make even more.
What I paid to what I've seen him sell for. But that's one of those things, like you just said there, if that halved in price, the only thing I'd be annoyed about is I could have bought 2. If I waited, I could have now bought 2 of them for that price. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, that there is in my collection. So the price is like, it's nice to see the value of your cards go up, because it's kind of that rainy day thing where you think, oh, I do want to cash out if I want the money, blah, blah, blah. But really, if it's in your own collection, it doesn't matter what it's worth. That's why when I was back into collecting, 12 years ago, cards were worthless compared to now. And I was spending, at the time, it's all relative. So the money I had when I was 18-year-old, I was getting like 36 quid a week. I was working part-time. I was a student. I was going to pay for a bus pass, all that crap. I was getting 36 quid a week as like a wage, working part-time as a student. And I was putting in all my money to Pokemon, to something that people thought was worthless. But it's because I liked them. It's because I wanted, I wasn't invested in Pokemon as an 18-year-old. I was just, getting the cards I never had when I was a kid, and I was, collecting them. And this year in particular, we've kind of seen all of us collectors, and I've said this in videos with you, I've said this with videos speaking to Jake from Pokenomics, a lot of us collectors have kind of accidentally became investors because...
It happened to me, mate.
Yeah.
I fell into the trap too.
If we became investors by accident because our cards now are worth so much money. And because the cards are now worth so much money, you have to be a bit more, a bit more cautious, or it's a bit more of like what's the word I'm looking for? It's a bit more of an informed decision. Like that Shining Charizards, that took me a couple of weeks, well, even longer than a few weeks to decide, right, I'm going to go and buy because of how much it was. Whereas if the card was 1/10 of that price, and I just bought one instantly because it's like, oh, well, it's not much money. You have to just think a little bit more because it's like, it is a lot of money. It's a big amount to buy. But if you want the cards and you can afford them, if you're a genuine collector, the prices shouldn't matter too much to you because it's in your collection. You've got it to look at. You haven't got it to think about the money.
Yeah, I think sometimes it is definitely that, but other times there's also justification. Sometimes you're trying to justify the purchase.
Yeah.
That, okay, it's all right because it's only gonna go up, you know. It's, you know, instead of just having it in the bank, I'm gonna buy this card, I'm gonna enjoy it, it's gonna be all right. Worst comes to worst, I'm still gonna be able to sell it for the £5 that I paid for it.
Yeah,
You know, it's a lot of that a lot of the justification comes into it, because instead of spending £100, it's £1,000 a card now.
yeah. Yeah, it's just harder sometimes, isn't it? And I say, like, as much as, like, I say, yeah, it's nice to have these cards that are worth money, that's not why collectors collect. That's why investors invest, because they want the stuff to go up. There's a difference between collectors and investors. And obviously on this
Exactly.
channel, on this channel, on the Pokenomics channel that we both watch and that I've spoke to Jake on and things like that, we do cover topics about investments because it's what people want to know. It's interesting to talk about, but that is a completely separate aspect of the hobby to collecting. Like, we can talk about investment, but then we can talk about just our love of collecting. It's two very separate conversations. And it's
Exactly.
interesting to cover both because, you know, it's two very important parts of the hobby. And as the cards are becoming more and more expensive, they are moving in that investment territory rather than just collecting. Especially for the vintage, the modern day stuff. Yeah, just buy it for fun, buy it to collect because it's not that expensive. When you're
It's
looking at
getting harder to differentiate though, isn't it though, mate?
what's
And I
that?
feel
What was that?
like between, I said it's getting harder to differentiate. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like a lot of the newer collectors getting involved are a bit more towards the investment side
Yeah, I'd agree with
than
that. Yeah,
the collector side, because it's like you're sitting in Walmart and you're sending a, I say Walmart because it's mostly Americans that do this.
yeah, yeah.
Take a picture with a tagline that says, "Is anything worth getting?"
Anything worth buying? Yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't have a clue about Pokemon. I'm similar. Like, I know you're similar as well when it comes to modern. There's very, very little that I would buy from modern. I don't think you buy any modern at all, do you?
I don't own zero modern rate. I'll be honest with you. I like the look of the Champions Path ETB. I've
Yeah.
got close to buying one a couple of times, but right now I've got absolutely zero
Zero.
modern.
So I've got, like, on the channel, I've been opening a lot of these lately, the Hidden Fates tins, just because, I don't know, like, it's one of them because it had so much hype online. I was looking at the cards and there's some cool looking cards in it. I thought it'd be fun to open them and they're affordable. I like opening, you know, it's fun to open packs. I have zero desire to open vintage products. We've spoke about this before. Zero desire whatsoever to open
Me
vintage
too. Me too.
products. So it's nice just to open some of this modern stuff and kind of keep your hand in. Some of the artworks like looks really sick, really cool. But
We got the evolution as well, didn't we? We got that case of evolutions
I'm
as
still
well.
at that case. I'm looking at the case there on the floor. The case of evolutions. I haven't took out with the you know, the brown shipping case.
Yeah, yeah, still in the
I haven't
box.
even cracked it open yet. There's 6 boxes in there. 6 boxes of evolutions still. But the Hidden Fate, so the Evolutions was another one that I like would be fun to open. The Hidden Fate, which I'm looking at there, it's easy. You know, if you're a modern collector, it's a lot easier to justify buying those cards because, like, I think the SV 49, the Shiny Volcharizard, is like one of the most desirable cards. You can buy that raw for 400 quid, 450 quid. PSA 10 is over £1,000. I wouldn't pay that for one because there's so many of them out there, but the price is the price. But it's easier to kind of justify spending, like you mentioned earlier, like there's a Mewtwo Shiny GX from Hidden Fate. It's about 80 quid raw, 60 quid raw, something like that. It's easier to buy that, or it's easier to justify £1,000 maybe on like a PSA 10 card than it is £5,000, £7,000, £10,000, whatever it is, £15,000 for the PSA 10 cards.
Mate, everything's just getting expensive to the point where literally every time I decide to make a purchase, there's thousands of pounds leaving my bank account.
Yeah. So it just takes a bit longer, doesn't it? Like, it takes a bit longer to make that decision and kind of go ahead with it. So on the topic of that then, we'll kind of, I don't know how long we've been going for on this video, but we'll
Been
maybe,
for a while, mate.
I think on the topic of that then, what would you say is an alternative? So for people who maybe don't have the money or they don't want to justify spending thousands on a single cards or even maybe hundreds in some cases, what do you think a good alternative in Pokemon would be? Like more of an affordable way that they can collect, not invest, collect.
Correct. Okay. I've had to ask myself this as well last week because, like I said, I'm spending thousands of pounds every week. It's unsustainable. I
Yeah,
collect PSA 10 only, and if it's a WotC set card, then it's first edition as well. So
yeah,
that just means it's expensive, as well as trophy cards. So the way that I'm unfortunately, I say unfortunate, it's unfortunate for me, but I skip PSA 9, get PSA 8, just go for a lower grade.
Yeah.
It's still a good quality card. It's still the same card that you apparently love.
Yeah.
I mean, do you love the artwork or do you love the fact it's a PSA 10? There's nothing wrong with either one, but you got to really ask yourself that. And it's got to the point where I can't afford to get every single card that I want in PSA 10
Yeah.
without my wife divorcing me. So it's got to the point where some cards that I buy are going to have to be PSA 9, and PSA 9 can cost from half all the way down to only 20% of what a PSA 10 would be. So that would be my number one tip for people: go for a lower grade.
No, spot on. Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. I would also say, and I've had this argument with people in Facebook groups when they say that they collect because they don't care what the values of cards, they collect because of the love of the art, but then they only collect PSA 10. If you love the artwork of a card, buy raw cards. If you don't care about the value of cards at all, literally buy raw cards. You could go and buy a base set unlimited Charizard in what a casual collector would consider mint condition. Looking at the front, you'd probably see no damage on it. Put in your binder, you wouldn't think twice about it. You can probably pick one of them up for no more than 120 quid buying it raw. PSA 10, well, PSA 9 unlimited Charizard is according to my
$4
Pokemon, $4,000. How much did you see? You saw the last PSA 10 sell for $10,000.
I think it was $10,000, mate, like last week or something like that.
So you've got two cards. Let's pretend I collect because I just love the look of the cards. I don't care about the money. Why would I want a PSA 10 over a raw card? Why would I want to spend 10 grand on a card where I could go and spend £100 on a card?
Mm-hmm.
I would 100% say buy lower grades or buy raw cards. It's a fraction of the price. If you're being genuine, you say, I only collect because of the nostalgia, the love of the cards, things like that, then buy the raw cards. I collected only raw cards until pretty much this year. I only owned one PSA card
Yeah.
this year, which was a
Remember
Japanese
you telling me.
Mewtwo. Yeah, it's only been this year because the prices have risen so much. I've kind of decided, right, I want to get some of my stuff graded to kind of attach the value to it. And because when I collected before, grading wasn't a popular thing. So there was no services set up like in 2008 to get cards graded, or at least none that I found and like knew of.
Yeah.
So it is, like I say, is for me as a collector, it's the nostalgia that drives for me. It's the cards that I never had as a kid, or the cards that I wanted to have as a kid, or just getting multiple cards, like copies of cards that I like, getting the Japanese promos and exclusives and things like that. That's what drives the collecting side of me. But because I'm now 30-year-old, these are all worth a lot more money than they used to be. Naturally, there's a part of me where, because my collection is worth more money, and if it was slabbed, it'd be worth even more money. Of course, there's part of me that looks at it and thinks, well, yeah, I want to make it as valuable as I can.
As valuable as possible, yeah, of course.
Exactly. So for me, it's like what I said to you earlier. We've kind of accidentally became investors, but we didn't get into Pokemon to make money. We got into Pokemon.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's be genuine, mate. You said that, and that's probably the third point. So buy a lower grade, buy raw possibly, and also be genuine, because when I had that same thought that I told myself, okay, hey, you're gonna have to start buying PSA 9s. I also made a decision to start buying WotC cards, English WotC cards.
Yeah.
Why? There's nothing rare about them. Even a first edition Shadowless base set, there's thousands, if not tens of thousands of copies out there. It's not rare. It's only rare in a PSA 10 format.
Yeah.
Right? So there's nothing rare about that card. Whereas I collect trophy cards, I collect rare Japanese cards from like Fan Club, Daisuke Club. There's literally only a handful of these things that have been handed out. You couldn't go to a shop and buy it. Nothing like that. You had to be awarded a card. So that's, to me, is much more special. I feel that's worth more of my money than something that literally every Tom, Dick and Harry has got in their collection in one form or another. So I've decided that I don't want that anymore.
I know for me, the trophy card is something I'm clued up on, really. I know what trophy cards obviously are, but we've spoke about this and I don't really know much about trophy cards, whereas I know for you, that's kind of your niche. That's what you kind of gravitate towards. For me, it's like I say, it's those cards from when I was a kid. That's what I'm drawn to. That's what I like really love.
I've got my binder sets. That's the thing.
Yeah,
So I've
mindsets. Yeah.
satisfied my collector's need. I've got that. It doesn't need to be in PSA 10 because
I'm the
that's just
same.
my childhood right there.
You know how much have we spoke about this before? I collected I hit almost all of my collector's goals back in that period 10 years ago when I was collecting. There was only a couple of things that kind of eluded me. Because of that, the kind of collector inside of me is like, I'm happy with what I've got. Everything else I'm getting now, there's only a couple of things left I need for my own personal collection. Yeah, I've moved on to like PSA things and stuff like that, partly for the investment reason as well. But the theme decks, that was something that I'm collecting at the minute. I'm looking at the gym decks
Theme
that
decks.
I got. There's still a couple of theme decks that I need to collect. Obviously, the sealed booster boxes is another thing I'm looking to collect. But in terms of like actual cards, I pretty much got everything that I wanted to 10 years ago, 12 years ago. So I think because I'm content as a collector, anything else now is just like a bonus for me.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's good stuff. So we'll start wrapping up then. Summary then, Logan Paul, the effect that that's going to have on the market in the short term as a one-off, I think minimal, very minimal on the base set booster packs, first edition booster packs. I think if we see him doing more content, he's already said he's going to do another box break. I don't think he mentioned what he's going to open, but he did say on his stream he's going to do another one. I think if he makes it a regular thing, and if he continues pushing Pokemon content, and then other kind of celebrities or influencers latch on and start doing the same, I think you'll then see the prices going up. But as a one-off, I personally don't see it affecting those base set packs a great deal.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100% there, mate.
And the stuff, was there anything else to wrap up, or do you think that covers us for today?
Mate, just the whole collectible guru prices coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, how do you want to sum that up then? So there was the Bulbasaur stuff. He had heavy packs listed on eBay for 45 grand. And I think Logan Paul called him out on that as well, without knowing he was the seller. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that bit of the stream, but basically,
That's funny, mate. No, I didn't.
you see, so basically what happened was Logan Paul mentioned he bought 2 heavy packs recently for 10 grand, and he was selling his unweighed packs for 11 grand. So then Collectibles Guru said, oh, there's some lists on eBay now for 45 grand. Logan Paul looks over at him and goes, man, I think that's expensive, because he bought them for 10 grand. So Collectibles Guru, because he's got a box, has some heavy packs listed for 45 grand on eBay. He's telling Logan Paul on the stream, oh, these are worth 45 grand. Logan Paul shoots him down straight away, not realising it's his pack status on eBay.
You can't make this stuff up, mate.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. It's just mental. So I think
Everyone needs to check out the Lord of the Rings meme as well.
yeah, they've been going all over Instagram. It's one of those things where it's like, I can never fault someone for making money. It's the fault with the Collectibles Guru, and I think the hate he's getting online is because he is literally making prices up.
Yeah, be honest, man. If you're running an honest show and you're making money, mate, then no one can knock you for that except a hater. But if you're lying and doing sneaky tricks and operating on the different usernames on eBay, mate, chill bidding, then
yeah, the best way to put it is like, if he was just genuinely buying cards, flipping them for what is considered a fair market price, where I can't fault him. But if he's shilling bids to try and influence the market, which he's been caught doing, and then saying to someone like Logan Paul, who's got hundreds of thousands of people watching, who don't really know much about the market, oh, this is worth this much money, this is worth 30 grand, this is worth 45 grand, when they're worth a fraction of that price. That's why he could continue making money without doing all that dodgy stuff, and no one would bat an eyelid. It's the dodgy stuff that I don't like. I just want to make it clear that I have zero, like PokeRev. I know people kind of hate on PokeRev for doing the box breaks and opening the packs and things like that. It's one of those things where I would never buy a pack for somebody else to open. It just baffles me. Like, I cannot understand why someone would want to pay for somebody else to open the pack, especially when you're spending hundreds of dollars or hundreds of pounds on a pack, or in this case, $11,000. But if somebody is happy to pay that price, who am I to knock that business model? He's not doing anything wrong. He's not doing anything shady. Can't fault him. Someone flipping cards, can't fault them. It's
Mate,
when
I'll be honest with you.
you
There's a
hate stuff.
terrible habit. There's a terrible habit, mate, in this community for for, for things like this. You know, it's like the whole CGC grading coming onto the scene, even though they're a reputable grading company in their own right.
Yeah,
They get shit left and right. Do you know what? From us collectors, you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's all just repeating the same narrative. So I think there just needs to be a lot more positivity in the community. I
yeah,
think we need to use these kind of turbulent times to kind of pull together as collectors. And you know, even for example, Gary from Pawn Stars has made, you know, like a little dig at Collectible Guru as well. And you know, I think that the whole community knows what's going on.
yeah,
And I'm sure we're gonna get through it okay, man.
yeah. No, I think that's right. In general, be more positive. Like, people on my Instagram will say I'm just posting daft shit all the time. I think if people don't know me, they might think, oh, he looks angry, he looks that. If most of what I put on my Instagram is a joke, and in general, it's a positive kind of place to be. And I think in general, the Pokemon community needs to try and be a little bit more positive. And just kind of, I posted on my Instagram yesterday. I think I tagged you in it. Just kind of like be grateful for what you've got. Be grateful for the memories and experiences and the friendships you get through Pokemon, and don't focus on the
100%.
money side of it all the time.
100%, man. 100%. I hope we can take that advice myself first and foremost as well.
So yeah, if you are maybe a bit disheartened watching about prices and things like that, don't kind of think you get being priced out of the market. There's always, always, always something there for you to buy. You don't have to buy PSA slabs. You don't have to buy PSA 10s. You don't have to buy slabs at all to enjoy Pokemon. You can just enjoy the things you've got and enjoy the cheaper things. And there's loads out there for you to buy. If people ever want to chat about that, drop me or drop H a message, drop something down in the comments below. You know, like, yeah, it's nice having a collection that's worth a bit of money, but it wouldn't matter to us if these cards were worth what they are now, or if they're worth what they were 10 years ago. We look at them and we still have the same memories, still have the same experiences, and that's what
Telling,
Pokemon's
I
about.
was telling Shreddy that this the set that everybody hates
Yeah,
is one of my favorite sold products, one of my favorite boxes, just because of the beauty of the artwork.
yeah,
I don't really care about the value of what's inside.
yeah,
Just having this box and being able to appreciate it and having a piece of history, that's enough. That's enough for me. And I won't sell this box. It's gonna
yeah.
stay with me. Not that it's gonna skyrocket, but
Because it's one of
definitely
those things
one.
that you like. Just
Exactly.
one of those things you like. No, spot on. So yeah, that wraps things up for today, guys. Remember to go and follow H over on Instagram. It's at Trophy Card. I'll put a link down in the description below. Like this video, make sure to subscribe as well for more. Let us know down in the comments below what your kind of takes are on the Logan Paul box break, what you think it's going to, have an effect on the market, if any effects. And me and H could look to do one of these videos more regular, aren't we? These kind of just chats. So let us know any
Hopefully,
topics that you would like to see us talk about down in the comments below, or drop us a DM over on Instagram. And we'll look to get some more of these filmed and some more videos brought to you very soon. So that wraps it up. Any last words you want to say, H?
yeah. I just want to say thanks, Shreddy, for having me on your channel. Big up all the other all your other subscribers as well, and hope to see you guys soon.
Spot on. So last words from Shreddy is to remember that collecting ain't no gimmick, it's a lifestyle.